There we go.
Manja, manja, bon appetit, let's eat. It's time for Tanks Cooks. Manja, manja, bon appetit, let's eat. It's time for Tanks Cooks. It's time.
All right, well, there's very precious few days left to be grilling. You better believe I'm going to still hit that grill, especially when I got a recipe sent to me by Chad Wonderling for grilled prime rib. So it says I have to keep the get the prime rib up to room temperature, and I got to spice it up. So let's get the spices, and we got to blend the spices together. All right, he says salt, pepper, garlic powder, rosemary, onion powder, and olive oil. Well, you know, I'll use those. We got some salt we'll put in. It says about 2 tablespoons of salt. So I'll put there some salt. Of course, we'll put in some accent. Put a little more salt in, what the hell. Then some cracked black pepper. So let's get some of this pepper mill. Here we go, some cracked black pepper. Of course, we'll put some lemon pepper in. Lemon pepper. Lemon pepper. Of course, some garlic powder. Some garlic powder. Some onion powder. We'll throw in some Montreal seasoning. Toss a little parsley in. Of course, got to get the thing off of here. A little bit of parsley. Throw a little basil in. Always important to get some thyme on our hands. We'll also be using fresh thyme and rosemary. Here's our rosemary. And use some of our steak rub too, to bring it all home. La, 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 la. We'll mix this up. Oh, shoot! Why don't I put a little paprika in here too, just for the hell of it, just to get a little heat to it. La 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 la. Steak rub mixture, prime rib mixture, la 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 la. All right. Here's our nice looking prime rib. Look at this. Ooh, ah, ah, ooh. All right. We'll rub a little olive oil on it. Rub it in. Rub it in. Rub it into the sea. When you rub it in, you see. Rub it in. Rub it in. Rub it in. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to put it in a... So we're going to put our spice mixture on top of it. Here it is. We'll rub it in this way. Rub it in, rub it in. Put it in the bag and rub it on this side as well. Rub it in, rub it in. And then let it rest for about an hour so it gets to room temperature, and it will take this bad boy out to be grilled. Oh, what a thrill. All right, let's light this bad boy up. All right, as we mentioned, we got heat over here, but no heat over here. So we're gonna put this on indirect heat and let this, basically it's gonna be a little longer cook with this one. But we have our trusty cooking probe and it will tell us what to do. But while we have it on there, I'm also going to throw on some, a little bit of thyme on top of it for some aromatic while it cooks. And a little stalk of rosemary. So we'll get some aromatics while it heats up over indirect heat. We'll be adding our corn and our potatoes a little bit later, but let's shut this down and keep a close eye on it. But it's going to take quite a bit cooking with the indirect heat. All right, let's see how we're doing. It's been in here for about 10 minutes or so, maybe 15 minutes. Again, we're not cooking on direct heat, so let's keep our aromatics over here. We'll actually flip this on this other side. Aromatics underneath. Some aromatics on top too. Get another piece here. Another stalk of thyme and rosemary. There we go. We'll put a little more rosemary and thyme on here. Yep, there it is. There it is. Get some. So while it's slow cooks, we'll put some aromatics on here. Gonna cook a little fast because I actually just got a prime rib steak, not the full rib roast. I mean, come on. I'm one person here. So it's kind of like a prime rib steak. There. Of course, using our usual spice. Now this is heat. There's no heat here. It's indirect heat. So let's get our seasoned corn. Some paprika. And a little bit of accent. Our potatoes on too. Yep. Put the potatoes on direct heat as well. Here it is. I'm going to have a little bit of a surprise for these potatoes in a few. So stay tuned as we continue to cook this prime rib steak on the grill. Alright, let's see how this is looking. We got our corn. Our corn looks like it's just almost about done. Yes, in fact, our corn is done. We can move the potatoes over here, keep them cooking. Move the steak a little closer to the heat if you want it to start. It's cooked up internally really well. Got the aromatics still on here. Drag it through, drag it through, drag it through. Because at the end, we're going to be charring this up a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of a, well, not char up completely, but we're going to put it on the high heat for about 2 minutes near the end of our cooking. Here's a little surprise that Chad Wonderling told me about. Throw a little bit of cheese, and this is Romano cheese, not Parmesan, because of course I grew up thinking that Parmesan was fake, and Romano was the real Italian cheese. So I'm going to throw a little bit of a pecorino Romano on here, and we're getting close. We're getting close to this nice prime rib being ready to come off the grill. Oh, what a thrill! All right, before we take this off the heat, let's move our potatoes over here. Let's put it right on the direct heat for a minute. With our little aromatic in there. All right. Just to get a little bit of a char on here. Don't want it to char up, of course. It's our aromatic into the fire here. You gotta be careful. You don't want it to burn, but you want just a little bit of a char on here. Here we go. Beautiful. Look at that. Get those aromatics here. Turn it on the other side. Just get some little bit of extra heat on the outside before we take this off and let it rest. Get a little bit of heat there. A little bit of a flare up. There it is. All right, we'll take this off and we'll let this rest for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll get ready to eat this prime rib.
Time to plate the meal. Time to plate the meal.
All right, here we go. We got our grilled prime rib. You know, it's kind of a prime rib steak. It's not a traditional full prime rib roast, but we're going to see how this came out. And ooh, got some good color in here. I actually had to rest this thing for 20 minutes, but there it is. Look at that color. Look at that color. Who says you can't grill prime rib steak? Potatoes came out really nice. Of course, the corn. I'm already chowing down on my corn. You know, grilling season's coming to an end. And thank you, Chad Wonderling, for sending this wonderful recipe. But if you want to send me any recipe that's good for fall and winter, let me know. Or even like some good healthier snacks. Good fall recipes are going to be what I'm going to be looking for. Some soups. Email them to me, njtank99@gmail.com. And manja. Bon appetit. Let's eat.